Welcome back to Self-Love Ignited. I am your host, Katie Allen. Today we are talking about EFT, short for emotional freedom technique, also known as tapping. This is something that I use personally. It's something I use with a lot of my clients. You may have heard it sort of thrown around a lot, but you might not know exactly what it is. So today we're going to talk about what it is and how it can help you on your path to self-love. And then we are going to do an EFT exercise as well. My name is Katie Allen, and this is Self-Love Ignited. Let's get to it. Welcome back to Self-Love Ignited. Today, we are going to talk EFT, emotional freedom technique, or tapping. They are all the same thing. I'm going to use those terms interchangeably. We are going to talk about this technique, this practice. What is it? We're going to talk about how it can help you, even if you are a beginner. And then we are going to work through a self-love tapping sequence together. So let's just dive in. All right, let's dive in. Maybe you've heard of EFT, maybe you've not, maybe you've been practicing for years, and maybe this is a brand new concept that this is the first time you're hearing about it. So regardless, I want to keep this simple, right? We're not going to dive in and do the whole in-depth thing. There are books written, there are studies done. If you want to go deeper, trust me, you can go deeper. Today, I want to give you simply what you need to know so that you can begin to use this today, very simply. So EFT, like I said, short for the emotional freedom technique, also known as tapping, is essentially a practice where we use the energy meridians on the body and acupressure, as well as speaking out loud. And we do these things at the same time. Now, so there's the two parts, right? So there's like the acupressure part, and then there's the verbalization part. So the acupressure part is where we tap on energy meridians. Now, these energy meridians are the same ones that have been used in acupuncture for, hundreds of years. And of course, we are not using needles, right? We are using our fingertips. So we're using acupressure, but the meridians are the same ones. And what we're doing is, so there's different ways of doing this, but I'll just tell you how I practice and how I was trained to practice, is using the fingertips on your dominant hand. Now, some people tap with both hands. I just tap with one hand. It doesn't really matter. You do what works for you. You using either the primary 2 or 3 fingers on one hand, and you tap through these energy meridians. So there's different points. So there's the crown of the head right at the top, inner brow, outer brow, sort of the outer corner of the eye, under the nose, under the bottom lip, right in that divot underneath the bottom lip before the chin comes back out, the collarbones. Now, if you feel down the middle of your collarbones, you should be symmetrical, right? Unless you have broken a collarbone, of course, in your life. You can feel right in the middle, feel out to the sides where the collarbones go up. And then just underneath there, maybe about just like a finger width down, there's a little divot on both sides where it goes in. It's kind of soft. That's where you're going to tap, right in that little divot underneath the collarbone. And then on the side of your rib cage, on the bra line. And then we also sometimes tap on the karate chop point on the side of the hand, just below the pinky here. Now, what we do is we gently use the pressure from, like I said, 2 or 3 fingers, and we are tapping. We're not smashing, we're not hitting, we are gently tapping on these points of the body. And this is a sequence, and we go through and we are verbalizing. I'm going to tell you about that in a second. We are talking, we are tapping, we are tapping. And as we talk and we just go through this sequence again and again. Now, I do want to say as well that if you are listening to only the audio of this podcast episode, it may be a little bit more challenging for you because you can't see what I'm doing, of course. Please note that this podcast is also published as a video on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. So if you're only listening to the audio and you're like, I wish I could see what she was doing, just know that you can. Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube, Katie Allen Coaching on all 3. Okay. So if you want to actually see me, you can go to those places. Of course, if you're watching the video, you can already see what I'm doing. So we are tapping through these points as we are speaking out loud. Now, what this does is it is moving the energy in your body, right? These are the energy meridians, and each point corresponds, as per, Chinese medicine, to different parts of your body. If you want to know more in depth, if you want to know what point refers to what and how everything's working, there are so many books that have been written. There are so many studies that have been done. That information is out there. We are not going to go into that for our purposes today because you simply don't need to know. And I only want to give you exactly what you need to know so that you can begin to use this so that it can create change in your life. All right. So yes, that information is out there. Please feel free to go and Google what different points correspond to what in the body and how things are working. You don't need to know that today, though. Okay. We're just going to keep it really simple. So you're tapping through these different points on your body corresponding to your energy meridians, and it gets a lot of things moving. And I can tell you that a lot of people, as we're tapping, everybody has different experiences. Of course, some people don't feel much physically. I always feel almost like a swirling, like there's just a lot of movement happening inside my body. Sometimes I can get really floaty in my head, and it takes me a while to come and be grounded after. There is no right or wrong, right? But it's moving the energy in your body. And as we are tapping through these points, we are also speaking out loud. And whether you do this, if you do it by yourself, it's a little bit more challenging, of course, because you need to know sort of what to do. But whether you are following along a pre-recorded video, whether you are doing a live tapping sequence, or if you're working one-on-one with a practitioner, essentially there's going to be something said. And as you're tapping, you're just going to repeat, right? So it will quite often start with, and I'm going to take you through a sequence, right? So you can experience this. And so you understand it's the easiest way to explain it is simply to show you to do it. But so we are going to do a tapping sequence on self-love. So I would start that. You please do not tap along just yet. I'm just giving you an example. So I would start that by saying, even though I have not been loving towards myself, right? Even though I have been blank. So you're recognizing that even though I've been doing this thing or feeling this thing or whatever it happens to be that I kind of want to change or that I'm not really happy with. And then it goes to, I choose to love and accept myself, or I choose to love and honor myself, or I choose to forgive myself, right? So we're being really intentional. And then we look at sort of the things that you've been doing or feeling or saying that you kind of don't really like. And then we begin to shift them. We begin to release them. And there's lots of different styles of EFT. Some people go into, a lot of depth. Again, like I said today, for our purposes, you don't need to know that. All you need to know is that when you're following along, the practitioner is going to say something, you simply say it back. Of course, if you can say it out loud, that is preferable. So if you can do this when you're sitting in a private space, whether it be in your office, in your bedroom, in your car, it doesn't really matter. But if you can do this in a private space where you're able to speak out loud, do that. If you can't, if it's just not available to you, or you just really don't feel comfortable doing it, you can just repeat it in your head. But just remember that it's better if you can say it out loud, right? It has a little bit more impact. So EFT can be used for lots of different things. Again, for our purposes today, I'm going to lead you through an EFT for self-love, tapping for self-love. And it's just going to be a really simple, basic practice, but you'll see that it is all about your mindset, right? And forgiving yourself and self-compassion. So it can be really helpful in shifting emotional states. It can be helpful in shifting physical states, in changing habits, right? It can be helpful in changing your inner talk. So whether it be physical things, mental things, emotional things, there is EFT for everything. Because this practice uses a physical cue, so you are physically tapping on the energy meridians in your body, and you are speaking, which also has the vibration, right, from your throat. So there's the vibration which moves through your body and the intention from your brain. It's like it has like this magic combination. It's really difficult for me to explain, but just trust me, it has this really amazing sort of combination of things. Like I said, this is something that I use personally almost every day, I would say. It's definitely a very regular part of my own mindset practice, my own self-love practice. It is something that I recommend to almost all of my clients, I would say it's something that sometimes we'll do during one-on-one sessions, or they will have as homework from a session. But if you are on a point in your self-love journey where you're looking for something and you just want to give something a try, a tool, this is a really great tool that you can use, you can implement, you can experiment with. So let's just do it. Let's experience this. I want you to actually experience this if you have not before. So if you're able to, if you're driving or something, please don't do this when you're driving. Please take responsibility for making sure that you are in a safe space. Your wellness is in your own hands, quite literally and figuratively. And I want to just invite you to settle first off, before we do anything. If it's safe for you to do so, just close your eyes for a moment. And take 3 slow, deep breaths down deep into your belly. Allow yourself to just be here, now. Ground into this present moment. Know that there is nowhere else you need to be, nothing else you need to be doing for the next couple of minutes. And open yourself up to experiencing something new. And if your skeptical brain is in there going, what is this woman talking about? Or this can't work. Or this is all just crazy. This is woo-woo. This is too out there. I want to just invite you to take that and put it aside just for a moment and just open up and just consider what if this could happen. When you feel ready, I want to invite you to start tapping on the karate chop point on one hand. And again, it does not matter which hand you use. I tap with my right hand generally because I'm right-handed. Makes no difference which hand you use. So just tapping gently. And as you watch me and I move to different tapping points, simply mirror where I'm tapping and repeat after me. Even though I have not been loving towards myself, I choose to forgive myself. Even though I have not been loving myself, in this moment, I choose to love and accept myself. Even though self-love has not come easy, I choose to honor myself. Sometimes self-love feels so far away. I can't even get to self-like. And some days I find myself in self-loathing. My inner critic is loud. I beat myself up. I am not being a friend to myself. And this way of being is all I know. I've been this way for so long. Everything else feels strange. Sometimes I'm critical about who I am. Sometimes I am critical about what I look like. But regardless, I am not loving myself. It feels like I can't love myself. I am always being told that loving myself is not a good thing. Because what would other people think if I loved myself? Maybe I would be labeled as a narcissist. People might think that I think I'm better than them. What kind of person loves themselves anyways? All of these old stories, all these stories are here to keep me safe. Even if I can't see how or why. In this moment, I choose to appreciate them. I am grateful that these stories exist. They have been serving a purpose for a very long time. And it is time for me to write some new stories. I'm going to make new choices. I'm going to shift these beliefs. I choose to believe that I am worth loving. I deserve to be loved. I deserve to be loved right now. I deserve to be loved just as I am. And this love that I crave, it has to start within. Love is a choice. Stepping into love is not a choice that we make one time. It is a choice that we might make 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times. And I am worth making that choice. Stepping into self-love does not erase everything else. But love is the highest vibration there is. And when I consciously choose love, the flow-on effects go everywhere. Self-love means self-compassion. I choose to have compassion for myself. Self-love means self-kindness. I choose to be kind to myself. Self-love means self-respect. I choose to respect myself. Self-love means self-acceptance. I choose to accept myself. Love, compassion, kindness, respect, acceptance. Love, compassion, kindness, respect, acceptance. I choose to practice these things through my actions. I choose to practice these things through my thoughts. I choose to practice these things through my words. I know that I will not do perfectly. Perfection does not exist. My goal is to be aware. Aware of the old beliefs and stories I've been holding on to. Aware of how I approach myself. Aware of the thoughts that I think. Aware of the words that I speak. I deserve to love myself. I am worthy of love. I am capable of love. From this moment forward, I choose to step towards self-love. I choose love for myself. And so it is. When you feel complete, close your eyes again and notice what you feel in your body. Notice what sensations are coming up in your feet, your legs, your torso, your arms, hands, neck, and your head. Notice what is present or not present. With curiosity and an open mind, there is no right or wrong. We're simply noticing. Maybe you feel a lot. Maybe you don't feel much at all. Either one is fine. When you feel ready, you can open your eyes. And like I said before, quite often I feel it takes me a little while to come back, which is always fun when I'm leading people. It always takes me a little while to come back, to feel grounded again, because I feel a lot of energy swirling in my body and my torso, my arms, my hands, and quite often my third eye, my forehead. I could feel just a lot happening there. And just notice how that feels for you. And this practice is one that you can come back to time and time and time again, if you like, right? This is published now, it's out in the world. You're welcome to save this. Whatever platform you're listening to this on or watching this on, you're welcome to save it and come back to it. And if you would like a more specific tapping exercise for your body image, there'll be a link in the show notes. It is tapping for body kindness. It's another practice that I created. It's another freebie you can sign up for, and it's sent to you. And then again, you have access to it. So if your body image is sort of a challenge for you and you would like to explore tapping and use tapping in different ways, that is a great resource for you as well. So you're welcome to sign up for that. Check that out. So I really just want to thank you for being here with me today. Thank you for opening your mind, being willing to try something new. This is a simple but honestly very profound practice. And there's so much more to tapping that we did not go into today, but you don't need to know that. You don't need to know it to start. You don't need to understand how it works necessarily for it to begin shifting a lot of things for you. So I want to just invite you to be gentle with yourself for the rest of the day. Make sure that you drink lots of water. And the other thing too that I don't think I mentioned before is that quite often when we're tapping, it can happen during tapping or afterwards as we're moving energy and releasing. Everybody releases energy in a different way. So I will quite often yawn. Some people yawn, some people sneeze. Some people might just feel like they need to stretch, like you need to move your body, stretch your muscles. So if you're feeling like you need to sneeze or move or stretch or yawn or whatever it happens to be, that is totally normal. Listen to your body. It will tell you what it needs. Okay, so be gentle with yourself, drink some water, and happy tapping. Thank you for tapping along with me today.